Hi guys, welcome to Black Diesel Garage. I'm Gabe, and in this video I'm doing an oil change on my Ford 6.2 gas. This is a 2011 truck, but the 6.2's, the oil change is pretty much the same across the board. How this video will go is I'll tell you what you will need for the oil change, then I will probably explain why I am doing the stuff I am doing for the oil change, why I believe that this would be quite possibly the best oil change I could do to this truck. In this video, it'll probably be titled as I did the most expensive oil change to my truck, just because through YouTube, you say the best, and I don't know, just saying expensive and showing money symbols works for people watching the video. And it is a little bit pricey. Oil changes are pricey, and the better quality materials you get, the more expensive it is generally. So that's why the video will be probably titled that way, but it is going to be the best oil change in my opinion for this truck, and I will tell you my opinion on why it is the best oil change. And then I'll just go ahead and change the oil at the end. So for you guys that are wondering what it takes to do an oil change on a 6.2 gas Ford motor, you will need a 5/8 wrench, a drain pan, the appropriate filter, and oil. It technically takes 5 quarts of 5W20. Hey guys, anywhere in this video where I say 5 quarts, it was wrong. I looked it up on the internet, and that's just the first one I saw was 5 quarts. It apparently is 7 quarts. So anywhere I say 5 quarts, disregard that, it's 7 quarts is what it calls for. I have 6 quarts here because I have 6 quarts here. I bought extra. Also, additives are good. I do not have sitting here. I ordered it, but ProLube, it's a additive for oil. I have only seen videos of it on the internet, but they test Temkin bearings on it, and they test it against a bunch of different other stabilizers and lubricants, and it just seems like a well product. Seems pretty good grade so far. It doesn't look like they do any tampering with it in their videos, and it beats all the others, so I believe it's a good thing to put in your vehicle. I am using Royal Purple oil, and I am also going with a cat filter, which I did get a lot of flack asking on the internet about what cat filter fits on these trucks. I don't know why there was so much flack I got because of it. A lot of people were saying, oh, you're just jumping on the bandwagon, you're a cat fanboy, you're just doing it because you see everybody else doing it. So talking about the products here that I will be using, I am going to explain starting out with the cat filter. And technically, if you're wondering what this is a Donaldson P550965. And just in case I got something wrong there, because I am dyslexic, I will show you guys it right there. According to the person at the cat parts service desk, this is basically a cat filter, just not yellow. And I did compare it to cat filters, and it looks to be constructed the same compared to how the threads have been punched in there. The bigger holes, and not perfectly round, but kind of octagonish shaped gasket in a sense with how it's stamped out. So it looks like if the cat filter is just not yellow, and the service guy told me that it's the same thing, and I got it from Cat, so I can assume it's probably a cat filter. Now, this is a low mile truck, and I want it to last a long time. And oil is a barrier between moving parts. It lubricates it, and yeah, you don't have to have the best oil. The worst oil you could get will get you by, but I think a better product is a lot better for your vehicle. You'll pay more in the long run, but in the end it turns out to be a more, in a sense, slicker material. There's less friction and parts move smoother with a higher quality oil. And I would say that that is a very good thing. if you think of it as, well, your tires make contact to the road. They don't have a lot of friction because they roll, but they have some friction and they wear out. Whereas your alien's UFO flying around, his tires ain't touching the ground, so therefore his tires don't wear out and he doesn't have to buy more. He has less friction, so I think it's better. Sorry. But I do not know much about the different oil filter brands. I could look up stuff on them, I could watch videos, there's tons of filters out there, tons of information. The reason I just went with a cat filter is, yes, quite a few people do it, so that did influence me some due to the fact that it's a popular thing. Some other major points on why I went with a cat filter is because I myself do not know the differences in between the filters of the different manufacturers, how well their filters are, how they have been constructed, the quality of the materials going into their products. But I know Caterpillar, who I've dealt with quite a bit. In my opinion, the equipment that I've ran, at the top of my list out of running equipment, Cat has been the best equipment I have ran. And at least in my area of the world, Caterpillar has the best service, the best customer service. Like, they will get to you in a timely manner, and they will go beyond an arm's reach to get done what you need done. So they are a good company, have a good product, and they are just very customer oriented and go above and beyond to help their customers. So I like that. And just their equipment and how they operate as a company, I feel like is top notch. So therefore I would trust whatever filter brands they decide to use on their machines. Also, I have mechanicked a lot. I've worked on feed yards, I've built feed yards. I've been around farming quite a bit, work construction, work pipeline, and you get to see equipment in rough conditions, lots of different kinds of equipment. And an example I will use is working at feed yards and mechanicking at feed yards is a lot of them have Kenworth feed trucks. And I have on Kenworth feed trucks put Napa Gold filters. I can't remember the other brand, but it was some red filter with black lettering on it, and Kenworth filters. And you would not think between fuel filters like that there would be a big difference, but being in the dust and the grime on cattle lots, the Kenworth filters outperformed those other two brands astronomically. Like, sometimes a truck would have issues running due to not adequate fuel, and that was with the other two brands. We had the same fuel barrels we were getting fuel out of, and the Kenworth filters would last way longer on the truck, and the truck would run better rather than having the other two brands on it. So I do know there's a big difference within using different filter brands. I don't know enough about the filters themselves, but I trust Caterpillar. That's why I'm doing a cat filter swap on this truck. And a lot of times when people do a cat filter swap, it is a longer filter. This one technically is shorter by probably a 1/16, maybe an 1/8 inch. So not a big difference, but it is a tad bit smaller. Now, I will move on to oil. I went with Royal Purple just due to the fact that I know there's other good brands out there like Schellers and Amsoil, and I'm sure they're great oils. But I have watched videos on people testing oils, and this seems to be about the best for testing, and it's readily available because I'm not certain, but I believe the other two you have to get from dealers. So it would make it a little harder to get a hold of. And through testing that I've seen, this has appeared to be a hair better. And I've heard that from a lot of people. I've seen videos where it's been better. Everyone has their own opinions. Who knows? Maybe someone tested stuff wrong. But if anything, it still is a very good oil to use. Another thing is a lot of the older gentlemen I've worked around some that owned gas stations back in the day when traveling salesmen were traveling around selling stuff. And they talked like this stuff worked miracles, those older mechanics that have done this for years, and guys that worked at full service gas stations. I can't remember the story, but one of the stories I heard, it was a guy who I think owned the full service gas station, had like a 50 something Chevy, and he had like rod bearing material in his oil, and it wasn't a good deal, but he started putting this in it, and it kind of helped heal it in a sense, and he had cleaner oil when he would do his oil changes after that, after switching to Royal Purple. So that's my reason for using Royal Purple. And then of course, like I said earlier, I don't have it here, but I think a good additive is good just because it's a extra step in things that could have a little more protection to it and make it a little smoother on your motor. So based off of what I've seen on the internet in comparison to other oils and oil stabilizers, ProLube looks like some really good stuff. I think it was like $20 some for enough that will last me 3 oil changes, because I think it's like a 15-ounce container and it's an ounce per quart you use, I believe. And this thing technically takes 5 quarts for the oil change, although I have 6 quarts sitting here. So good stabilizers, good. Lots of companies make them. There's Lucas, there's AMSOIL. You can get a lot of different stablers, but I'm gonna try them out. They seem like a really good product. So that's why, in my opinion, this would be the best oil change for this truck. And it's a very low mileage truck. Right now has 18,000 on it, like 18,001 or 200, something like that. So I'd like to be nice to it and see how many miles I can make this thing last, because I actually clock quite a few miles going up and down the road working pipeline. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to changing this oil. I'm gonna have to grab my pliers for that, or a paper towel. It's a little slippery with that oil on it. So I took the drain plug out and drained the old oil and took the old filter off. And yes, I am one of those people who pre-fills the oil filter, which I know there's a lot of controversy on that. And I did spill, but I'm trying to film too. But my theory is you definitely don't want an air pocket or a dry spot in your oil or a dry start. So if it happens to be one of the setups, because they do run both ways depending on what vehicles you have or engines, but where it goes through the filter first after it starts, I don't want there to just be a big old air pocket when I start it up and the filter have to fill up with oil. Yeah, I don't like the idea of an air gap being in there. So that's why I pre-fill my filter. Alright, so I have the oil pan drain bolt back on, and I have the filter primed and on, and now I'm just going to dump the rest of this 5-quart jug of oil in here, and then I will check my level. So first I'll start it up, and then I'll go ahead and reset my oil, and then I will check it. So I am going to hit info, and I'm just pressing info right now. That's not giving me what I want. So let me hit reset. I'm holding reset. How about setup? We're gonna try setup. Setup. Oil life 100%. Hold to reset now. Oil life set to 100%. If I would have went one more clicker, it would have said what my oil percent life was at, which I think last time I checked, which was less than 100 miles ago, is at like 50%. But now it'll say 100%. And I'm going to go to setup, oil life 100%. Let me click through here and see what I had for trip miles. Trip A, trip B, I actually believe that was the last oil change, so it's kind of quite a bit over, but the oil life still said it was alright, and I didn't have time to do it till now. But I'm gonna go ahead and reset trip B. That was my last oil change. I'm gonna shut it off, let all the oil settle down, drip through the heads and get to the pan, and I will go ahead and check the oil after that. Well guys, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I wound up putting 7 quarts in this thing. I had to run to town and get some more oil. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it was informational to you. And we'll catch you next time on Black Diesel Garage. See you guys.